Among all the ancient discoveries made in human history, there is one painting that stands out as something truly extraordinary. It is known as the Black Frieze, a panel found at a site called Pessel. This ancient artwork, drawn about 25,000 years ago, continues to amaze researchers and raise questions about the minds and skills of our prehistoric ancestors. It is hard to imagine that people living so long ago could create something so detailed and meaningful. But what if one single cave painting could completely change everything we know about early humans? Recently, archaeologists have found cave paintings that may forever transform our understanding of prehistoric life. These discoveries give us new insight into how ancient people lived, thought, and expressed themselves. They show that our ancestors were not simple beings struggling for survival, but intelligent, creative humans capable of remarkable imagination and complex thinking. The more scientists study these artworks, the more they realize that prehistoric humans were far more advanced than anyone had believed before. One of the most important sites in this discovery is the Chauvet Cave, located in the Arctic region of southern France. This cave is considered one of the most extraordinary art galleries of ancient times. It was discovered in 1994 by Jean-Marie Chauvet, Iliette Brunel-Deschamps, and Christian Hilaire. Inside this cave, explorers found drawings that are between 30,000 and 36,000 years old. What makes Chauvet Cave so special is how well preserved its artwork is. Because the cave was sealed for thousands of years, protected from wind, light, and human interference, the paintings inside remain almost exactly as they were when ancient artists created them. The walls are covered with beautiful images of animals such as lions, rhinoceroses, horses, and mammoths. These creatures were drawn using techniques that seem surprisingly advanced for such an early time in human history. The artists used shading, perspective, and even movement to bring their subjects to life. Some animals appear to be running or turning their heads, giving the impression of animation. This shows that prehistoric humans understood not only how to observe the world but also how to represent it artistically in a way that still moves people today. Chauvet Cave is not just an art gallery, it is also a window into prehistoric life. The cave contains traces of human activity, footprints, and remains of ancient fires, suggesting it may have been used for rituals, ceremonies, or gatherings. The bones of extinct animals found inside indicate that humans shared this space with creatures long gone from our planet. Many researchers believe the cave had spiritual meaning, a sacred place where early humans could connect with nature, life, and death through their art. It reminds us that creativity and spirituality have always been deeply connected in human history. From the beautiful caves of France, we move to the vast plains of Africa, where ancient people also left behind remarkable evidence of their existence. Around 5,000 years ago, in what is now known as the Greater Somalia region, cattle herders roamed the land searching for water and shelter. Among the many sites they visited, one stands out for its incredible artwork, the site known as Las Gil. This area has become one of the most significant archaeological discoveries in Africa, revealing that early Somali people had an extraordinary sense of culture and identity. Thanks to the work of Dr. Sada Meyer, who has discovered over 100 rock art and burial sites in Somalia, the world has started to appreciate the historical richness of this region. The paintings found in Las Gil are colorful, detailed, and full of life. They show scenes of herders tending their cattle, hunters chasing animals, and caravans moving across the desert. Some of the art even represents people dancing or participating in rituals. These images tell a story of community, cooperation, and survival. The details in these artworks are stunning. The artists used red, white, and yellow pigments made from minerals and natural dyes. The cattle are drawn with careful attention to detail, showing patterns and decorations that might have had cultural or symbolic meaning. Some researchers believe these paintings also functioned as a kind of calendar or record, marking the seasons and the cycles of the moon. This shows that early humans in Somalia not only had artistic skills but also understood time, trade, and social organization. They were farmers, herders, and artists all at once, living proof that ancient African societies were highly developed and creative. The Las Gil paintings continue to fascinate scientists and visitors alike. They reveal how deeply connected humans were to nature and animals, how they respected the world around them, and how they used art to celebrate their daily lives. Every image carved or painted on those rocks speaks of human resilience, adaptation, and beauty. Now, from the African plains, we travel to the other side of the world to South America, where another extraordinary discovery tells a different story of human expression. In the Patagonia region of Argentina lies a site called Cueva de las Manos, or Cave of Hands. This place, named for the hundreds of handprints that cover its walls, is one of the most iconic prehistoric art sites in the world. Cueva de las Manos dates back almost 10,000 years and was recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1999. The most striking images are the stenciled handprints, hundreds of them in different colors, sizes, and shapes. Some of the hands appear to belong to young people, others to adults, and a few even show 6 fingers, suggesting that individuals with unique physical traits were part of the community. Alongside the hands are paintings of guanacos, a relative of the llama, and scenes of hunting. These images tell stories of daily life, survival, and community. The technique used by these ancient artists was both simple and brilliant. To create the handprints, they placed their hands on the rock surface and blew pigment around them using hollow bones or by spraying it through their mouths. The result was a negative impression where the hand itself is left in the color of the rock, surrounded by a cloud of paint. The colors they used came from natural minerals such as iron oxide for red, kaolin for white, and manganese for black. Beyond their beauty, the handprints have deep symbolic meaning. Some researchers think they represent identity or belonging, like signatures left by individuals thousands of years ago. Others believe they might have been part of initiation rituals or ceremonies that marked important moments in life. Whatever their purpose, these prints remind us that the desire to leave a mark, to say I was here, has always been a part of being human. The cave also contains images of animals and hunting scenes made with fine brushes. The detailed depictions of guanacos and other creatures show a deep understanding of animal behavior. The hunters are drawn with bows, arrows, and spears, suggesting a society skilled in teamwork and planning. Through this art, we can almost imagine the lives of these early people, their hunts, their struggles, their celebrations, and their connection to the land that sustained them. Taken together, sites like Chauvet Cave, Las Gil, and Cueva de las Manos tell a shared human story that spans continents and millennia. Though separated by oceans and thousands of years, the people who created these artworks were all driven by the same human instincts to communicate, to express emotion, to record experiences, and to connect with something greater than themselves. These ancient artists may not have shared a language, but their paintings speak across time, showing that creativity and curiosity are universal parts of the human soul. What makes these discoveries so powerful is how they challenge long-held beliefs about early humans. For centuries, many people assumed that prehistoric humans were simple, primitive beings who focused only on survival. But these paintings show otherwise. The artists who created them had imagination, intelligence, and an understanding of the world that was far more complex than we once believed. They thought symbolically, understood beauty, and used art to make sense of their existence. Experts now see these caves not just as archaeological sites but as early evidence of the human mind's evolution. The ability to create art, to imagine something that doesn't physically exist and bring it to life, marks a major step in human development. It shows that our ancestors could think abstractly, plan, and share ideas. Art became a tool for communication, for storytelling, and for preserving cultural identity. Even today, scientists continue to study these ancient paintings using modern technology like 3D scanning, chemical analysis, and digital reconstruction. These tools help them understand how pigments were made, how the artists worked, and what materials they used. In some cases, they've even found traces of fingerprints left behind by the artists themselves, giving us a direct physical link to people who lived tens of thousands of years ago. Each new discovery opens more questions than answers. Who were these artists? What did the animals symbolize? Were these drawings part of rituals or simply artistic expressions? How did they learn such techniques without modern tools or education? These mysteries remind us how much of our own history remains hidden, waiting to be uncovered beneath layers of time. What we do know for sure is that art played a vital role in human life long before writing or cities existed. It brought people together, helped them pass down stories, and gave them a sense of purpose. From the shadowy caves of France to the sunlit rocks of Somalia and the wind-carved cliffs of Argentina, these paintings are silent messages from our ancestors, proof that creativity has always been one of humanity's greatest strengths. As we continue to explore and understand these sites, we're reminded that the human story is far older and richer than we often imagine. These ancient artists may have lived in different lands and spoken different languages, but through their art, they speak directly to us across time. They show us that even tens of thousands of years ago, people felt the same wonder, curiosity, and desire for meaning that we feel today. Their paintings are not just relics of the past, they are mirrors reflecting what it truly means to be human. Deep in the Huns Mountains of Namibia lies one of Africa's most remarkable archaeological treasures, the Apollo 11 cave. This site dates back to around 25,000 BCE, during what scientists call the Middle Stone Age. It was discovered and excavated by archaeologist Charles Green, who uncovered something extraordinary inside: small pieces of portable art made by early humans. These lightweight stones, carefully carved and painted, are believed to have been carried as people moved from one place to another in search of food and shelter. What makes them so special is not just their age but what they reveal about the intelligence and creativity of our ancient ancestors. The stones feature images of animals that were hunted for survival, such as antelopes and wild cats, as well as tools and mysterious symbols whose meanings remain unknown. These were not just random drawings, they were deliberate and thoughtful creations that reflected how early humans saw the world around them. The presence of these symbols shows that humans back then had already developed the ability to think abstractly, to represent ideas through images, and to express emotions and beliefs through art. This was a major step in human evolution, the beginning of symbolic thought and communication. Archaeologists believe these artworks were portable because the people who made them were nomads. They didn't live in one place permanently but moved according to the seasons, following herds and water sources. Carrying these stones with them suggests that art and meaning were deeply important to their lives. They may have served as totems, spiritual symbols, or even as teaching tools for younger members of their group. The art also showed a shared sense of culture. Similar artifacts have been found across different parts of Africa, which indicates that ancient groups might have had common beliefs or communication systems. This discovery challenges the old idea that early humans were simple or purely practical. Instead, it reveals that they were capable of imagination, social organization, and emotional depth. Leaving behind the rocky shelters of Namibia, we journey eastward to the heart of India, where another window into the ancient human mind lies hidden among the hills. The Bhimbetka rock shelters in Madhya Pradesh are among the oldest known sites of human habitation in the world. Some of them date back as far as 100,000 years, to the lower Paleolithic period. These shelters, nestled within the lush forests of the Ratapani Tiger Reserve, hold a continuous record of human life and art that spans tens of thousands of years. The Bhimbetka caves are a living museum carved by nature and painted by humankind. Inside these shelters, hundreds of walls are covered with colorful murals that show animals, hunting scenes, and moments of daily life. Through these paintings, we can see how humans evolved not only physically, but mentally and socially. The images tell stories of cooperation, survival, and belief. You can see figures of men hunting deer with bows and arrows, groups dancing together, mothers holding children, and animals like elephants, tigers, and bison roaming the ancient forests. Each image feels alive, offering a direct connection to the people who made them thousands of years ago. These paintings were discovered in the mid-20th century by archaeologist V.S. Wakanka, who noticed them while exploring the area. His discovery revealed that Bhimbetka was more than just a shelter, it was a place of deep cultural significance. The site contains around 750 shelters, and about 500 of them have paintings. The colors used in these murals came from natural minerals like hematite, which gave red hues, and lime, which produced white. Despite their age, many of these paintings have survived because they were protected from the weather and sunlight by the natural rock formations. The Bhimbetka shelters also served as burial sites, offering evidence that ancient humans held beliefs about life and death. This suggests that they had spiritual or religious ideas, possibly believing in an afterlife or honoring their ancestors. The combination of paintings, tools, and burial remains paints a vivid picture of human life at a time when civilization was still in its earliest stages. These caves show that even in the Stone Age, humans were more than just hunters and gatherers, they were thinkers, dreamers, and storytellers. From the green forests of India, our journey takes us to one of the harshest landscapes on Earth, the Sahara Desert. In southwestern Libya lies Tidrat Akakis, a region that seems lifeless today but was once full of rivers, animals, and people. Thousands of years ago, this desert was a thriving ecosystem where humans lived, hunted, and created breathtaking works of art. The rock art of Tidrat Akakis is among the most impressive in the world, revealing a story of survival, adaptation, and imagination. These paintings date back to the Neolithic period and later, spanning thousands of years. They cover the walls of cliffs and caves, showing detailed scenes of daily life, rituals, and wildlife. The ancient artists painted cattle grazing, hunters chasing animals, families gathering around fires, and even figures engaged in ceremonies or dances. These images are not just decorations, they are historical records of how people once lived in a land that is now almost entirely desert. The art of Tidrat Akakis also provides insight into the changing environment. Earlier paintings show a lush, green landscape filled with elephants, giraffes, and crocodiles, while later ones show camels and desert animals, revealing how the Sahara gradually turned from a fertile region into a dry desert. This transformation forced humans to adapt, and their art reflects that struggle. They developed new hunting techniques, new tools, and new ways of life to survive in the changing world. Researchers studying these paintings believe they were deeply connected to the spiritual beliefs of the ancient Saharan people. Many of the scenes appear to depict rituals or symbolic ceremonies, perhaps related to fertility, rain, or the cycle of life. The variety of art styles, from simple stick figures to complex, detailed representations, shows that this culture evolved artistically over thousands of years. The artists used natural pigments and tools made from plants and stones, applying them carefully to the rock surfaces. Despite the passage of time, many of these images remain vivid, still telling their stories through color and shape. Tidrat Akakis, like Bimbetka and Apollo 11 Cave, reveals that art was not just decoration, it was communication. It allowed people to share ideas, record experiences, and express their understanding of the world. It was their way of writing history long before words existed. Each painting is a message left by our ancestors, an echo from a time when survival depended on both strength and imagination. These sites, spread across 3 continents, share something remarkable in common. They show that art, imagination, and culture were born not in one place but in many. Across Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, early humans were developing similar skills at the same time. They were observing nature, learning to use tools, and expressing themselves through symbols and images. This suggests that creativity is not just a cultural invention but a natural part of being human. When archaeologists study these ancient paintings and carvings, they are not just examining old rocks, they are uncovering the earliest evidence of human thought. Every brushstroke, every carving, and every pigment tells a story of connection to the earth, to each other, and to something greater than themselves. These works remind us that humans have always sought meaning, beauty, and understanding. Whether in a dark cave in Namibia, a jungle shelter in India, or a sun-baked desert in Libya, people used art to make sense of their world and to leave a mark that would outlive them. Modern technology is now helping researchers learn even more about these incredible sites. Scientists use 3D scanning, chemical analysis, and digital imaging to study the composition of pigments and the order in which layers were applied. This allows them to see how the art evolved over time and even to identify different artists by their techniques. In some cases, ancient fingerprints have been found on the painted surfaces, real, physical evidence of the people who once stood there thousands of years ago, creating something they knew was important. These discoveries also have a deep emotional power. When we look at these ancient artworks today, we see not just primitive drawings but the reflections of people who laughed, loved, feared, and hoped just like we do. They remind us that creativity, communication, and spirituality are not modern inventions, they are the essence of what it means to be human. As the sun sets over the Sahara, the red and gold light touches the ancient walls of Tidrat Akakis, making the figures come alive once more. The hunters seem to move, the animals appear to breathe, and the people seem to dance in celebration. In those moments, we are connected across time to the first artists who ever lived. From the Apollo 11 cave in Namibia to the Bhimbetka shelters in India and the desert paintings of Libya, the story of human creativity stretches unbroken across 30,000 years. Each discovery adds a new chapter to our understanding of where we came from and who we are. Even though our journey through these ancient sites ends here, the story of human imagination continues to unfold. Every new excavation, every newly found symbol, and every reinterpretation brings us closer to understanding our ancestors. They were not just survivors, they were creators, storytellers, and dreamers. Their art continues to speak, whispering through time that as long as humans exist, the urge to create, to express, and to leave a mark will never disappear.